I think it's safe to say when it comes to the Power Rangers brand as a whole, and when I say that things are changing for the better, it is. So if they were to go the TV14 route, I think this is giving me Disney vibes in terms of acting, but the fight scenes are going to end up being way more violent. And I want to see some blood, but not like Mortal Kombat style, but just in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? So if they are going to go TV14, I think this brand is going to end up being more popular than it was 30 years ago. So shout out to the fan club. So let's get to it.
Emmanuel Jones, also known as Zach, the original Black Ranger. Hey!
Hi, it's Amy Jo Johnson.
By the way, she was in my hometown of Washington, D.C. for Awesome Con. I wish I can go to my first con one day to meet my childhood idols, but I don't have that kind of money because you have to pay like $200 to spend with one celebrity to take a picture with them, and I don't like that at all. So, bummer.
Joe's the original Mighty Morphin Blue Power Ranger.
And you're watching the fan club.
And you're watching the fan club. Do you know what time it is? It's time for the fan club. Let's go. Hey!
I can't do this on my own, cause you know things ain't always sweet when you out here in these streets. But my morpher when it morphed, I made a fake one.
Could Power Rangers Cosmic Fury be the last kids show for Power Rangers? Now, as you guys know, a few weeks ago, Simon Bennett did come out and say that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury target audience is going to be like 6 to 8 year olds, something like that. So it's pretty much like a TVY7 show, right? Well, will we have kids content in the future? Or are we going into this like TV14 realm? Now, I believe deep down that if you're going to do something for the adults, there's still going to be kids content somewhere of some capacity, even if it's a cartoon, a preschool show. I made a video a few days ago talking about how I believe a CGI preschool show like PJ Masks or Spidey and His Amazing Friends would be a super hit, and it would help draw in the new generation into Power Rangers. We talked about how when you go to the preschool aisle, like, you know, where all the Paw Patrol stuff is, PJ Masks, they have some Power Ranger preschool toys, but they sit there for a very long time because there's no preschool show tied in with Power Rangers, and young kids don't really watch Power Rangers like they used to. Kids still love Power Rangers, and if you go into like a daycare of 30 kids in the room, I guarantee you there's going to be 5 kids that watch Power Rangers at least. But it's not like how it used to be. If you go into a preschool room with 30 kids and ask, do you guys know who Marshall from Paw Patrol is? And every single kid is going to raise their hand. If you walk in and say, hey, does anyone know who Tommy the Green Ranger is? You'd be lucky if 4 or 5 kids raise their hand, or, you know, something current. You ask them who Zato the Red Ranger is. Maybe only 2 or 3 kids would know who that person is. So I think it would be awesome to hit us with a preschool show. I think that would be amazing. But today's video isn't fully about giving us a preschool show or kids content. What are the chances that for a year or two we move away from kids content and we focus on this TV14 universe from Jonathan Entwistle?
Yes.
What are the chances that they're like, hey, we are going to put all of our eggs into this basket and let's see what happens? Now, I do think at some point,
when you think about it, and Sentai is more adults because they have some kid plots in certain episodes from seasons, but at the same time, they stay mature in terms of the violence, blood, and a lot of deaths in these shows. And plus, their movies, yes, some of them are not that good, but in terms of how they're written, it's sometimes questionable. But if Jonathan Entwistle's Power Rangers universe took the Sentai route, more darker in terms of story-wise, up the ante with the violence, I think the Jonathan Entwistle universe is going to end up changing the game. Because They're going in pre-production this November this year because Cosmic Fury is already done, like I said before. But, like I said, I do want to see some changes in Power Rangers, and it's about time that it starts with Jonathan Entwistle.
Say in investor call a year ago that while they're working on more young adult type shows, there's still going to be kids content. But does that mean that it's coming in 2024? Would there be a year or two without some kids shows? Now, in all honesty, I don't have the numbers from Netflix to tell you what the demographics are, but I see a lot more adults talking about Power Rangers these days than kids, even though obviously there's going to be kids around the world watching Power Rangers. But there is a giant fan base of Power Ranger fans over 18. I think that they could double dip. You could do a live action TV14 adult type show and hit that demographic, but then you could also give us like an animated show, or could we still adapt the Sentai and give us like a...
You could just do all three things, you know, adapt the Sentai using the Sentai footage, the Jonathan Entwistle project for the young adult demographic, and an animated series for the younger generation. All three of those things combined, you can triple your money just like that if you do it right. Because Hasbro is one of the biggest companies in the world. They can do whatever they want with the Power Rangers brand. And whether they watch my videos, give them my honest take on it, and watch this brother's content and giving his take on it, I think there's a possibility that Power Rangers is going into a brighter future and a brighter direction if you have the smart people around you that knows about Power Rangers, Tokusatsu in general. If you do it right, I think Power Rangers is going to end up giving the fans hope.
It's very interesting, but if you're giving us a new cast, that would be super hard to develop 5 or 6 Rangers in 10 episodes. I would like to see more specials. I think that that is an easier concept that we could actually put out. I love the fact that since we're moving on from New Zealand, it looks like we're gonna spend more money. Going to New Zealand was a money-saving move from the get-go, and then when Saban took it over, it was right up his cards because Saban was super cheap, loved to save money, and then Hasbro, when they took it over, they're like, yo, we're going to do what works to start. And then every year or two, we're going to make minor changes until year 4, we're going to make some big changes. I've compared this to a crappy basketball team many times. Our team was losing every year. We were never making the playoffs.
This reminds me of the Washington Commanders when every time we get new players and all of that, it's the same result. We're always losing to good teams and winless teams that have the worst record in the NFL. And instead of us fighting for a win, we're always giving other teams victories every time, whether it's on the road or back at home. So this reminds me so much of Washington Commanders.
To the team. Well, Saban, the owner, sold it to Hasbro, who actually is trying to get us to compete again, to contend for a title, if you will, right? Now, the first few years of taking over the team, you can't necessarily cut everybody, and that's like that with sports too. You know, even with a new owner, you can make some trades and do some things here, but you're still going to be stuck on some of these contracts. And that's what Hasbro was doing for the first couple years. They weren't breaking anything, they weren't making any crazy moves, but then after year 3 or 4, they wanted to start contending. They wanted to get out of the rebuilding phase, and this happens all the time in entertainment in sports. I'm a big sports head too, so I love comparing things to sports because this is like a team. And even if you guys don't like basketball, football, soccer, anything like that, I bet you guys can relate. It's like a band. Sometimes when the band's doing bad, you got to move some pieces around. Like, hey, you're causing drama. Hey, you're never on time. We got to move you out. And pretty much we had to save this brand, and Hasbro and Simon Bennett did a great job these first 4 years of the brand of stabilizing it, making sure that Power Rangers still has a place in the entertainment industry. I think that the few seasons that they put together with Dino Fury and Beast Morphers were very good. Once and Always brought hype to Power Rangers that I haven't seen in years. And now it's time to bring it back to America or Canada and put a big budget, get some big name writers, producers, directors, and cast members, and let's ride this wave, man. Power Rangers is not a top 5 entertainment brand anymore like it was in the 90s, but I think the future is bright. Now, what are your guys...
Now, personally, I believe that Power Rangers is going to be the top 10 entertainment show like it was in the 90s in maybe 2024 or 2025. You know, that's if the show is good, you know, as long as the fans love it. Newcomers that heard of Power Rangers are going to get used to the new CGI, the new writing, and the new plot. As long as they're used to it and appreciating it for what it is, I think Hasbro is showing some promises to the brand. And a lot of us do want to see this get off the ground, but I just hope they do it right instead of giving us another product that is a letdown.
Going to have kids content, or do you think we could take a break for a while? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to take a second to shout out all...
I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I agree with what he's saying. I think this product is going to end up becoming more bigger than it was before. Because when Saban brought it back, it was going downhill from there. Like, he dragged this franchise into the ground with the MPR nostalgia, you know, the fart jokes, talking while fighting, the campiness and the corniness, and it's just not Power Rangers. Especially the Neo Saban era, it was just heavily focused on maybe more of a nostalgia with the Go-Go Power Rangers theme. It's Morphin Time with the Morphin Call, and just overuse of Sentai footage, and it was not good. Samurai through Ninja Steel was the biggest downfall of Power Rangers. Though Dino Charge Season 1 was good, even though it has its flaws. The second season was not good. It was trash. Second season of Beast Morphers was bad. Season 1 of Dino Fury was passable because it has its issues, but it set up a lot of things to come within the second season, which was by far the best. The second half of Season 2 was way better than the first half. Though the first half had some good episodes, but the second half of Season 2 where it really turned up. So, if y'all enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. Do you agree with what he had to say? Or do you agree with what I have to say? Original video will be down below. And shout out to the fan club once again. All credits go to him. And yeah, I'm going to holler at y'all.